Ladies, I know how it feels when you've gone through a breakup. It's that deep, aching hole in your heart where love used to live. You question yourself, replay moments in your mind, and wonder if there's any way to turn back the clock. But let me tell you this. The answer to making him beg to have you back isn't about chasing him, pleading, or trying to prove how good you were together. No, it's about stepping into your own power. You see, the minute you try to convince someone that you're worthy of their attention or affection, you lose the essence of what makes you truly irresistible. What I'm going to share with you today isn't about tricks or games. It's about understanding human psychology and how true attraction works. First, recognize that people are drawn to those who know their own value. When you truly know your worth, you radiate confidence. Confidence isn't loud or boastful, it's subtle and magnetic. It's about showing him, and more importantly yourself, that you're more than okay on your own. You don't need him to complete you. Next, distance is your best friend. After a breakup, the most counterintuitive thing you can do is chase after him or constantly be in his orbit. Instead, give him the space to miss you. People can't miss what's constantly available to them. When you remove your presence, you create a vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum. He'll start to wonder what you're doing, who you're with, and why you seem just fine without him. Third, focus on your growth. Spend this time rediscovering what makes you feel alive. Invest in yourself, your hobbies, your passions, and your social circle. When he sees you thriving, becoming the best version of yourself, he'll realize that losing you was the biggest mistake he made. You are a force to be reckoned with, and the right man will be drawn to that energy. Also, take control of your emotions. It's easy to let the pain of a breakup cloud your judgment, but when you show emotional intelligence and poise, it's like saying, I can handle life's storms, and I won't let this define me. That strength is incredibly attractive. Self-worth is the foundation of every healthy relationship, romantic or otherwise. It's the intrinsic belief that you are valuable, deserving of love, respect, and the very best that life has to offer. When you deeply understand and embrace your self-worth, you become unshakable. People, especially in romantic situations, are instinctively drawn to those who don't need external validation to feel good about themselves. Here's why self-worth is so powerful. Confidence versus neediness. When you have a strong sense of self-worth, you don't seek approval or validation from others, especially not from an ex. Confidence comes from within, and it shows in how you carry yourself, how you speak, and how you make decisions. On the other hand, neediness arises when you base your worth on someone else's opinion or validation. The moment you start chasing someone to prove your value, you are telling them, my worth depends on you, and that instantly diminishes your power. People are attracted to those who exude self-assurance. It's not arrogance, it's knowing that regardless of someone else's actions or feelings, you remain whole and secure in yourself. This energy draws people in because it's rare, and it communicates that you won't settle for anything less than what you deserve. Boundaries as a reflection of self-worth. One of the clearest signs of someone with high self-worth is their ability to set boundaries. When you respect yourself, you don't tolerate behavior that diminishes your value, whether it's neglect, disrespect, or emotional unavailability. By setting boundaries, you communicate to others, I know what I'm worth, and I won't accept anything that falls below that standard. Distance after a breakup is one of the most effective yet often misunderstood tools in reigniting attraction. When we're emotionally charged, our natural instinct might be to stay close to someone, reach out, and make them understand how much we care. However, the real power lies in the opposite approach, creating distance. Here's why distance is crucial and how to use it effectively. 1. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. There's a reason this age-old saying holds true. When you're always available, your presence becomes something that's taken for granted. Familiarity can dull attraction, but distance restores mystery and curiosity. By giving space, you allow the person to reflect on what they've lost rather than constantly being reminded of what's still available. This isn't about playing games. It's about creating an opportunity for them to realize what life feels like without you. People can't miss what's always right in front of them. Distance provides the time and space for your ex to start wondering what you're up to, who you're spending time with, and why you seem to be doing just fine without them. 2. Scarcity breeds value. We, as humans, are wired to value what we don't have easy access to. Think about it. When something becomes scarce, it's immediately perceived as more valuable. The same applies to relationships. By stepping back and limiting your availability, you're indirectly raising your value. When you're constantly texting or reaching out, you're giving them the message that you're readily available. But when you create distance, your time, attention, and presence become scarce, making them more desirable. Scarcity makes someone reevaluate the situation and realize, wait, I don't have access to this person anymore. What am I missing out on? It's this shift in perspective that can reignite their interest and make them want to reconnect. 3. Breaks the cycle of emotional dependence after a breakup. Emotions can run high and it's easy to fall into a cycle of emotional dependence, constantly thinking about the other person, checking their social media, or finding excuses to stay in touch. But this behavior only keeps you stuck in the past, making it harder to move forward and rebuild your own sense of independence. Distance, on the other hand, forces both of you to break this cycle. It helps you regain control over your emotions and gives you the clarity to see the relationship from a healthier, more detached perspective. This detachment is essential for emotional healing and growth. Ironically, when you detach and focus on yourself, it often becomes the very thing that draws them back to you. You're no longer the person who's dependent on their validation. You're someone who's thriving on your own, which is incredibly attractive. 4. Reclaiming your personal power. Distance also allows you to regain your personal power. When you're caught up in the emotional whirlwind of a breakup, it's easy to feel powerless, especially if the other person was the one who initiated the split. By stepping back and creating space, you're signaling that you're in control of your life. You're not going to spend your time waiting around or chasing them. This act of pulling away shows self-respect and confidence, and it flips the power dynamic. Suddenly, you're no longer the one chasing, you're the one creating the boundaries and they will feel that shift. You've moved from a position of vulnerability to one of strength. 5, the element of mystery and intrigue. One of the most potent effects of distance is that it reintroduces mystery into the equation. Relationships often lose their sense of intrigue over time, especially when two people have spent a lot of time together. By stepping back, you give them a reason to start wondering about you again. What's happening in your life? How are you spending your time? Who are you spending it with? Humans are naturally curious. And when someone is out of sight, it triggers that curiosity in the other person. They begin to think about you more, imagining scenarios and asking themselves questions. When there's no clear answer, the intrigue grows, and with it the desire to reconnect, becoming unstoppable and irresistible. Here's the beauty of personal growth. By focusing on becoming the best version of yourself, you shift your mindset from how do I get him back to how do I become someone that anyone would be lucky to have in their life. As you evolve, your energy shifts. You're no longer chasing someone else's approval or affection. You're not consumed by the past. Instead, you're building a brighter future. This kind of transformation is irresistible. When your ex sees the new, empowered version of you, someone who is thriving, growing, and happy without them, it naturally sparks their curiosity and desire. But here's the real secret. By the time they realize what they've lost, you may have already outgrown the need for their validation. You might realize that you've built a life so full and rich that you don't need them back. And that is the ultimate power of personal growth. How to focus on personal growth. Set goals. Identify areas of your life where you want to grow, whether it's your career, health, relationships, or mental well-being. Create actionable steps to achieve progress in each area. Stay curious. Always seek new experiences and knowledge. Read books, take classes, or explore new hobbies. Growth happens when you're constantly learning and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Embrace self-care. Invest in your physical, emotional, and mental health. Exercise regularly, eat well, meditate, and nurture your mind and body. A strong foundation of self-care is essential for personal growth. Surround yourself with positivity. Be mindful of the people and influences you allow into your life. Surround yourself with supportive friends, mentors, and positive environments that encourage your growth. Track your progress. As you work on personal growth, celebrate your wins no matter how small. Tracking your progress keeps you motivated and reminds you of how far you've come. In conclusion, personal growth isn't just about making your ex want you back. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need them back to feel whole. When you invest in yourself, you become stronger, happier, and more fulfilled. You stop seeking validation from others because you've already given yourself the most important validation, your own. And when you become the best version of yourself, you don't just attract your ex back. You attract anyone who values and respects the amazing person you've become. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is one of the most powerful qualities you can cultivate in your personal growth journey, especially after a breakup. It's often more important than intellect or physical appearance in relationships because it defines how you manage your emotions, navigate interpersonal dynamics, and respond to the emotions of others. Developing emotional intelligence not only helps you handle the aftermath of a breakup, but also positions you as a more emotionally mature, attractive, and resilient person in any future relationship, whether with your ex or someone new. Emotional intelligence comprises several key components, each of which plays a critical role in both healing from heartbreak and becoming someone that others gravitate toward. Let's explore these components and how they work to your advantage. At the heart of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. This is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions, why you feel a certain way, what triggers specific reactions, and how your emotions affect your thoughts and acts. After a breakup, it's normal to experience a wide range of intense emotions, from anger and sadness to confusion and longing. However, emotional intelligence allows you to acknowledge these feelings without being consumed by them. Naming your emotions instead of suppressing or denying how you feel, take time to sit with your emotions and identify them. Are you feeling sadness because you miss the companionship, or is it loneliness? Are you feeling anger because of the breakup itself, or because of unmet expectations? By pinpointing your emotions, you can better understand your own emotional landscape. Understanding emotional triggers. Reflect on what situations or thoughts trigger certain emotional responses. Is it seeing your ex on social media, a particular song, or visiting a place you used to go together? Knowing your triggers helps you manage your reactions instead of being blindsided by them. managing negative emotions. Self-awareness allows you to acknowledge negative emotions without letting them take control. For example, if you're feeling hurt or rejected, you can admit to yourself that you're in pain without allowing that pain to define your self-worth or dictate your actions. Self-awareness puts you in the driver's seat of your emotional state. Instead of reacting impulsively to your emotions, you respond in a way that reflects your higher self. This level of control and introspection is attractive because it shows that you are emotionally mature and capable of handling difficult situations with grace. The next key aspect of emotional intelligence is self-regulation, the ability to control or redirect your emotions in a healthy, productive manner. After a breakup, it's easy to fall into behaviors driven by intense emotions, such as lashing out, seeking revenge, or clinging to the past. Emotional intelligence teaches you how to manage these emotions in a way that fosters growth rather than self-destruction. Pausing before reacting when you're emotionally triggered, whether by seeing your ex or hearing something that reminds you of them, emotional intelligence helps you pause before reacting impulsively. Instead of sending an angry text or making a regrettable decision, you take a step back, assess your feelings, and respond with calm and intention. Channeling emotions productively. Emotional regulation isn't about suppressing your feelings, it's about channeling them in a healthy way. If you feel sadness or anger, you might channel that energy into something productive, like working out, focusing on a personal project, or writing about your emotions in a journal. This allows you to process your feelings constructively without lashing out or losing control. Avoiding emotional overload. After a breakup, emotions can feel overwhelming. Self-regulation helps you avoid becoming emotionally overwhelmed by giving you tools to manage stress and anxiety. This could involve mindfulness practices like meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simply stepping away from triggering situations to give yourself space to cool down. People are drawn to those who can remain composed and grounded, even in emotion. Self-regulation shows that you are not driven by your impulses, but by clarity, logic, and emotional balance. It communicates emotional strength, which is an incredibly attractive trait. Another key component of emotional intelligence is empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Empathy allows you to connect with people on a deeper level because you're not just thinking about yourself, but also about how others feel. In the context of a breakup, this might mean understanding where your ex is coming from emotionally, even if their actions hurt you. Seeing the situation from their perspective. Empathy allows you to consider the other person's feelings, even if you're hurt or upset. Why did they act the way they did? What might they be feeling right now? By putting yourself in their shoes, you cultivate compassion, which helps you let go of anger or resentment. This doesn't mean excusing bad behavior, but it does mean seeing the situation with a more balanced perspective, communicating with kindness. If and when you do communicate with your ex, emotional intelligence helps you approach the conversation with kindness and respect rather than accusations or hostility. Even if reconciliation isn't on the table, demonstrating empathy in your conversations can lead to a more amicable parting. It leaves a lasting impression of emotional maturity. Deepening future connections, developing empathy doesn't just help in your current situation, it enhances all your relationships. When you're able to tune into others' emotions, you create deeper, more meaningful connections, whether in friendships, family dynamics, or future romantic relationships. People are naturally drawn to those who can understand and validate their emotions